Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Mysterious JG. It's a weird feeling. It feels like I've been away from you guys for a while. Because as I keep mentioning, like over-talking about the fact that I did some off-screening of this game with alcohol in my hand. I'm going to try to stop doing that here, because I've done that, two or three times. Um, it's December as I'm playing this, and it's one of those things like, let's not start making that a regular thing again. Like New Year's resolution might be to get back to not doing anything like that because I need to lose weight and it's not good for that. But I should give you the rundown on kind of some stuff that happened. Well, Franklin's the only one who's not going to have missions to do, so let's switch over to Michael anyway. And you'll even see he's not probably at a location that you'd expect him to be at. Oh, well, maybe. I guess he got hustling after I switched to it. Oh.
I'm endangering lives here? What's endangering lives is hiring the dumbest guy in the city to save our kids.
Okay, I don't know what that was about, actually. Oh, well, this is handy, because I did want to see the psychiatrist. Psychiatrist. I wanted to see the psychiatrist. Okay, so what happened is, off-screen, I did a lot of stuff trying not to advance the story, but a couple of things popped up anyway that I just went ahead and I'd made enough progress since last saving that I didn't feel like losing it. As you'll see, stat-wise, Michael is now nearly perfect. Because I was doing the things off screen, um, that specifically improve stats. So like at one point, I just got some stuff on to listen to in the background, and I just played tennis. Michael and his wife played tennis in the backyard long enough to max out his strength stat almost. And part of me wishes I did some of that on screen because it wouldn't have taken, because they started repeating fairly quickly. But the passive aggressive and just aggressive sniping between them when they play tennis was incredible. They are all up each other's asses throughout the tennis game. They are a it's a Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf level of like he just what binds them together is their mutual hatred in the dialogue. But honestly, the one that was being a huge pain in the ass, and I finally checked online for some better information on how to do it, was his special stat. Because like I kept doing the things you were supposed to do to raise it, but it doesn't really raise unless you drain it. And I think I realized that with Franklin, and then just kind of forgot about it with Michael. If you use his special stat, his special trick is uh, like bullet time. Like
You couldn't even when I say you suck, I mean you really suck.
I didn't even mean to do this actually. I guess he's beating up a lifeguard now. Maybe that gave me strength. I don't know. But it's this. He's got bullet time. Okay. Using that is necessary before you can raise it. So what I was doing is all the things that are supposed to raise it, but like exhausting that and then getting more and then exhausting it again and then getting it to refill and then exhausting it again. That is what actually fills it. So driving is really hard to fill, which makes sense when you think about it. It's a Grand Theft Auto game. Like it takes quite a bit of work to fill your driving score because you're not naturally meant to. Like maybe by the end of the game, Trevor will probably or Franklin will have max driving score by the end of the game, but Michael and Trevor normally wouldn't, or at least it would take the full story before they get there. As you can see, Franklin he can't play tennis in Michael's backyard, so I wasn't able to max out his strength the same way. So I spent a lot of time off screen playing as Franklin, going around sneaking up behind people and knocking them out to get his stealth score up to being almost 4 out of 5. And his special also. And Trevor's the one I spent the least time off, because the first time I went offline and like poured a bourbon and coke and just played this game while drinking for a little bit was with him just doing those missions, running drugs to get money. But they didn't really do much for his stats. So he did have the best stats of the three before I started all this, but now he's the only one where I didn't really have a session devoted to just working on his stats. Oh, and both Michael and Franklin, I guess I forgot, they've both gone to flight school, which I'm not going to bother to show on screen, although there is some narration to it. But it's the same as in San Andreas. You You have to do specific flight maneuvers, and the game scores you. But you don't get any different rewards for getting bronze, silver, or gold. So I just managed to get at least bronze on all the flight challenges with both of those guys, and now everyone has maximum flying skills. And Trevor's stats are the lowest. The couple of things you missed while I was running around doing all this nonsense were, and you can look up any of these if you want. While driving around as Franklin, because I did some races as Franklin, although it doesn't seem like I got credit for all of them. Maybe I forgot to save after one of them. But like, I went up with Franklin and did like off-road races and stuff that unlocked up here in the area where I swear we did stock car race and I won it with Franklin. But I must have done that. That must have been near the end of a session that involved some drinking, and I may have shut off the PlayStation without saving because it doesn't seem like it scored it for me. But the monetary rewards for that kind of thing are pretty low. So I'm not all that worried about doing it again. But I did that. There's at least one other race up here. Yeah, a second off-road race I did with Franklin. And I did them with Franklin because I thought, well, maybe something happens when you beat all the races. And using Franklin with his special stat trivializes most of the races. So if you're going to race, especially tipsy in the video game, in real world, do not go out and do street races, probably period. And if you do, don't do them tipsy. In video game world, where you're not hurting anybody except for your own liver, just use Franklin. But while I was up here, we kind of accidentally, like, we had a random event where there was some guys were robbing like a liquor store or something, because there was a bunch of flashing blue and red, like you could side with either one. Guys getting shot at by cops as they were leaving a store, and like literally, I was like watching to see what was supposed to happen, and literally, an NPC voice said, "Hey, are you gonna watch it?" You're like, "Hey, if you're gonna watch it, you're gonna help us out here." So I ran over to try to help them out, but as I was running over to them, the last of them died. So I just picked up the loot box that they dropped, which was like a little $5,000 cash icon that I picked up, and then I fled from the cops, and that was kind of odd. It was similar in some ways to the scene where we recruited Packy to be a future guy who could help us, but I'm pretty sure nobody was going to help us out of that. We were just going to get some money. Then, also while playing as Franklin, I came across a guy who was, just naked except for like pink panties and had something embarrassing written on his chest, and he was tied to a telephone pole or something like that. And you can look this one up. It is it's either called like the drunk bridegroom or the beleaguered bridegroom, like whatever it was. It's an actual quest in game where I found this guy whose bachelor party had gone out of control, and I'm supposed to be getting married in 3 hours, and I really thought about like just not, but I had done a bunch of stuff without saving, and I looked it up. You can watch the entire content of that quest. There's no major in-game real-world reward for it except for a car, which I believe I kept, because you drive him someplace and he talks, and Franklin has a very limited amount of dialogue that he provides. It's mostly that guy monologuing. And Michael and Trevor can also do the quest, and they just fill in little bits of dialogue. But basically, you drive him someplace where he gets cleaned up and gets dressed up for the wedding, and then you drive him to this kind of strip of restaurants along here, where we once got shot in the back of the head while playing as Trevor. But we come up here to pick up his best man in the ring, and then you rush to a church, and the bride yells at you, or yells at him. And he says, "I'll make it worth your while you're driving." But when you actually get there, he just jumps out of the car and runs off. And the best man stops and says, "Hey, man, keep the car. Thanks for the help." So you keep this unique. It's not particularly impressive. It's just a unique, like, kind of high-end luxury car, which we'll probably see Franklin with eventually. But I think like the license plate is custom, so you can tell that it's from this quest. And you can look that quest up if you want. There was also a guy in the similar part of the map. We found a guy who was he was going to be late for his flight. I need you to get me to the airport, and he's a stockbroker, and he does a lot of like, comic dialogue about how greedy and destructive these vulture capitalist stockbroker guys are. Dialogue as you drive him to the airport, but when you get him there, he gives you a tip to invest in Tinkle, which I looked it up. It's the biggest single opportunity in the game to to just like make money from nothing by putting all of your characters' money into Tinkle stocks before beating this guy, and then doing that quest and getting him to the airport on time. And if you don't get him to the airport on time, he doesn't give you the tip, and Tinkle stock doesn't go up. But if you buy Tinkle stock as soon as he tells you to, you actually get less of a return than you would if you knew where that quest was and you bought Tinkle stock and then you went to meet him. Not to mention, if we really wanted to max it out, you'd want to wait until late in the game, without spoiling too much story, I guess. There's going to be another big heist, similar in nature to that jewelry store heist that gave Franklin and Michael so much money. There's going to be a similar event where there's another heist where we just get a big fat pile of cash handed to us. And since the Tinkle stockbroker event is not required, you can wait and do that right after you get that cash, and it like gives you like a 50% return on your investment for no real work. And basically, it's a big opportunity to make more in-game money that I blew, but there's not that much to do with in-game money, so I'm just telling you about it. So you can look any of those things up. I apologize, but like really, and also a couple of times each character probably died at least once or twice during all this. Like I would be racing around trying to get their driver score up or their special score up by doing high-speed driving, and they would get killed. And I always just took the hit. I always just took the monetary hit and accepted. So we've had a really inefficient off-screen time of things as far as money and getting ourselves killed and just off-screen and just goofing around. But everybody, even Trevor, but mostly Michael and Franklin, have like permanently increased their stats so that they all like missions will be easier in various ways. None of these stats really matter that much for doing these missions, but the special stats can be fun to play around with. And with everybody except Trevor, they are now maxed out. So anyway, that was about half of a video of explaining that. But it was several hours of me getting tipsy with bourbon and coke and just running around playing GTA the way that I used to play GTA back in the day when I wasn't doing it for YouTube. I was run around and do crazy shit and not be trying to advance the story. So I got to have that experience without wasting a lot of you guys' time. But now, like I said, it feels like a really long absence because I've been playing the game without you guys. But now we're all back together. We're gonna steal some douchey off-road. This really is like an off-road vehicle that a super rich guy would have, and he would never go off-road with it. But we're going to do another psychiatrist session because this is a thing I didn't even really know about while playing the game on original hardware back in the day. Well, original hardware. I'm playing it on PS4. I think I had this on Xbox 360 possibly. So I bought this game twice. I had a little experience too, hanging around on Grimmeth's Discord server, like where a bunch of people were just. I'm overstating it, but I was like, "Hey, are you guys excited? GTA 6 is coming out." There's all these. It's like a competition to be who could be the most like too cool for school about GTA 6 coming out, and complaining about how GTA 5 Online is just a money vacuum, and being like, "Well, I've never played GTA 5 Online. GTA 5, on the other hand, has an insane amount of content considering its price." But yeah, I just found myself like, I don't know if I had become a Rockstar flunky or if I was just, but it was just like really like, how much fucking, like, people are like, well, what do you think GTA 6 is going to be? And I said, I think it's going to be a huge game with insane amounts of content, and they're going to offer you opportunities to pay them even more money for extra content, and people will complain about that despite the fact that the initial investment was like returned tenfold. That's kind of how GTA 5 is. People were complaining, I gotta stop monologuing. People were complaining that GTA 5 was going to have story DLC like GTA 4 did, and then that didn't happen. It just went into the online game, which is like blah blah. And I was like, okay, so like you didn't get story DLC? I guess that is a shame, but it's still this game that like it's like this huge map full of shit to do. What are you complaining about? We'll see.
Well, you've made it in the end.
Yeah,
Please,
fuck you.
take a seat.
You know, I probably should be embarrassed, you know, if you're going into your psychiatrist to report that, yeah, I've been doing a lot of boozy off screening. Is that okay, Doc? Are you going to judge me for
As
that?
you like.
Thanks. Oh, man. 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 You know what? Look. I'm just gonna take off. I'm not in the mood for this shit. This is fucking bullshit.
As
Okay.
you wish, Michael.
What did we come around for then?
Can I ask you something, Doc?
That's kind of why you're
You're a
here.
wise, kind, know-it-all kind of guy.
Go ahead.
I'm laughing because I know exactly why you're saying that.
No. No, I don't. I'm a man of science. Evil is a construct made by people who wish to indulge childish fantasies or by people who wish to judge others.
They're jobbers,
It all
basically.
comes back to the father-mother syndrome, which is what we spent last year on.
Yeah, well, you obviously never met my old buddy.
Uh-huh.
We call him Tony.
I thought he was called Trevor.
Shit. That's right. I forgot I told you about him.
Well,
Don't
seems
worry,
like Trevor's a pretty big part of your life, or he has been.
Confidence.
Didn't you tell me that if I turned things over, started again, that the universe would find some way to forgive me? Wasn't that you?
And have you turned things over?
I refuse
No,
to take
not
responsibility for having
That's
said
not the
that, but
point. I wanted to. That is the point.
so Michael
been
kind of
going on
knows he hasn't actually done.
I think you'll call this a bad relapse.
Yeah. Michael's mad that things aren't working out and his life isn't getting any better, but he's like, when asked straight up, have you reformed? He's like, well, no, but the fact that it even occurred to me that I might should mean I'm rewarded. Damn it. The button that pauses is not the button that unpauses.
Relapse is a vital part of recovery.
If you don't relapse, you can never recover.
Where do I start?
There's this jewelry store heist,
I
right?
went back into the business. That business. I gotta be honest with you, Doc.
Hmm.
I mean, why am I paying you all this money if not to be honest? For once.
Okay.
It felt good. That government guy I told you about, he got wind of it. It's fine. Expected. Problem is, he's not the only one.
Is this because you couldn't help but fall back on that catchphrase about forgetting a million things a day? I told you not to use that catchphrase, Michael. The psychiatrist really should talk like Kit from Knight Rider. Michael, I'm a talking car.
He fucking found me, Doc. My old pal, Trevor.
Am I safe? Please tell me I'm safe. He didn't follow you here, did he?
This is bad, Doc.
Yeah, it is actually pretty bad from Michael's perspective.
Honesty's an obstacle for you, Michael. Have you considered that transparency might be less painful than obfuscation?
That's not useful at this moment.
Anything else you want to tell me?
I've been out of control, Doc. I think I got, an imbalance or something.
I'm not sure what we expect a
Minute I'm
psychiatrist to
one
do for
person
us
and
about
the
Trevor,
next
but
minute I'm another person.
And you sometimes feel you're not responsible for your actions.
like
It's
someone's
all
controlling you with a PS5 or 4 controller. Accept
Just
advice.
don't like myself very much, Doc. And that's the truth.
What about your sexual problems, Michael?
I've been well. I mean, I've had thoughts, but I've been good. Not a single problem.
We all have thoughts, Michael. Not acting on them is real progress.
So I guess he was whoring around a lot. That's part of his
Just get all those
backstory.
people off my back, Doc. I'd be doing a lot better.
Fascinating. You may actually be a rare combination of a sociopath and a deluded psychopath. Either that or a more classic case of a weak pup who was weaned too soon by an angry mother.
What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, you don't. Okay, A, that doesn't really mean anything. B, I don't think you say that shit to your patient, Doc. There's a pretty clear. I mean, I know enough about these things to know a sociopath is very different from a psychopath. I don't think you can be both. Maybe I'm wrong. But I know that a psychiatrist doesn't say that stuff to their patient.
It means that's about all we have time for.
You paid
I
for
really
3
want you to
minutes.
work on yourself. Think about the person you'd like to be and really obsess about it. Next week, I'll tell you how to become that person. And remember, brother,
I'll tell you how to become that
we're
person next
all
week.
rowing together. Now, cross that ocean. Oh, by the way, your insurance ran out. Listen, I don't suppose you could pay cash from now on. If I'm hearing correctly, you've clearly got some.
Yeah. Okay.
I do.
Close the
You
door,
can't
Mayo.
deny that the psychiatrist, as useless and selfish and prickish as this
Buddy,
guy is.
chin up, okay?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's terrible. But at the same time, he's paying attention. I like that. Oh, I didn't realize that actually cost me money. But I do like the fact that it's like, hey, if I'm understanding correctly, you got plenty of money. Like, yeah, he realizes that we just committed major crimes for profit. That we should be doing good. Oh, hey, look at that car. That looks a really nice car. I think this might be our psychiatrist's car, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. For reasons that will become clear later, I think I vaguely remember what this psychiatrist's car may be. Anyway, alright, so we spent most of the video listening to me just talk about off-screen stuff. And then we listened to the psychiatrist talk a bunch of crap. We could do a stranger mission with Trevor. I think we will be switching to Trevor soon. Let's take advantage of the fact that Michael now has nearly perfect stats. He is the perfect warrior, if you will. And do his next main mission, because he was told by his FIB friend to meet him at such and such place. Which means, honestly, wherever the story goes, and we know that we kind of know that the 3 playable characters will be working together in the future. But right now, as far as we can make out, Michael's story is Trevor is bad fucking news, and he needs to figure out what to do about the fact that the psycho is back in his life. So let's go see what Dave Norton of the FIB has to say. Because I honestly don't remember exactly where the story is going in detail from here. GTA 5, much like Red Dead Redemption 2, has a lot of individual really good scenes. Really well and professionally acted and put together scenes. But the overall story feels a bit like a string of set pieces and like ideas for neat things that would lead to neat missions, but don't really always flow together into that coherent a narrative. So I kind of remember where the story ends up, but not that much about how we got there. But there is some stuff I do remember I would like to talk about, but I think we're getting fairly close to it happening and me being able to talk about it without just spoiling where some of the story's going. So we'll see what's up with It is a game where you spend a lot of time driving around 2 missions, although they've gotten better about that than like they found little ways to. Mostly, it's the retry feature actually. That like if a mission is really far away from the city, you still have that first big long drive of getting to the next mission. The pain and sting has been taken out of like, oh, I drove all the way across the map to get to this mission starting location. And now I messed up the mission and I respawn back at, you know, and have all this big long, like, the sting of that has come down a lot in GTA 5. GTA 4 had taken steps in that direction. GTA 5 has just made it, like, not even be that much of a thing. But that first drive, you still have to make. Like, Dave Morton wanted us to meet us at the, like, whatever this game's version of the, I don't even remember the name of the real landmark. There's a famous observatory in Los Angeles where various movies have the climax there. I think the most famous is Rebel Without a Cause. But yeah, it's an observatory. It's not going to be sitting around at a low altitude in the middle of a major city. It has to be kind of up in an elevated, vaguely isolated area. And we can't even drive all the way to where we need to go.
Hi,
How you doing? All right, I'm assuming we don't have to climb up those stairs because they are not. They don't appear to be intended to be accessed by the public. Although it could be become over here and we're supposed to be one level up. Well, what did that sign say? I don't know why I suddenly care about it. Telescope. Gaze in the video scope, Elizabeth. Ooh, yeah.
Davy.
Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier.
But the news is not good.
I don't know.
I don't know why I started this. We got less than 5 minutes to go in the video. So, the news is not good. What news is Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, talking about? Let's find out together in the next video. It's also giving me a chance to check the sound settings. I tweaked them a bit. So, who knows? Maybe I was inaudible for this whole video. In which case, I just put up a title card at the beginning and said, JG rambled on endlessly. But none of it mattered. When we come back next time, we will be getting back to the main story of GTA 5. Catch you then.